going to show you how to create some formulas in Excel. The first thing you should do is find the file from the handout folder. It's called formulas there. You can either, just a little word of warning, if you click on the link here, it might open in your browser. That is definitely not the right way to do this. You want to download it first, so you can click the three little dots and download that, or right click on the link. If you are using a browser that gives you a choice, you could put it directly in your folder. Probably will go directly in your downloads folder though, so I'm just going to save mine there. And once you go in there and open it actually in Excel, the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that it's saved in the right spot. So I'm going to go to File and Save As, and make sure it goes in my OneDrive folder. I have OneDrive running on my computer. I'm going to put it in my folder. Yeah. Can't remember what I did with that file. I've already got one there. You probably won't, but I'm just going to save it like that. And there's my file. Now there are different pages to this file. The last one is kind of the hardest one. It opened on the last one, unfortunately, so I'm just going to switch to the calculations page and start off easy and go from there. And once I've got it saved correctly, it's going to auto save. If that button's not on, it's not in your OneDrive, and that would be a bad thing, so make sure it's saved there. Some general advice on every page: make sure that every page looks good and it is easy enough to read. I can notice on this page that some of my columns are cut off. They're not wide enough. I also haven't changed the font or anything, so if you want to take some time to choose your own font, perhaps, you know, whatever. Maybe you want to change the size, the color to make it look good, but the columns are not wide enough. So the easiest way to do that is to go between the columns. Oh, by the way, I should mention for this assignment, if you see numbers on the top and the side, there is a problem with your program. You can get me to help you with that, or you can go into File and then Options and then Formulas. There's this thing under Working with Formulas that will make your life very, very difficult for this. Absolutely hate it. So I'm going to turn that off and click OK. So I see letters at the top. You should see letters at the top and numbers on the side. Again, if you don't, ask me for help, or File, Options, Formulas, and turn that off. Anyway, between the letters here, I can take these lines and drag it to make it wide enough, or the simpler way is just to double click those, and then I'll resize the column so that it fits whatever's inside that column. So the first thing I'll do is just double click all of those and make sure they're wide enough. Then I'll take all the headings. So in these charts or tables, they usually have headings, right? So I'll take the headings and I'll just make those look a little bit different. Let's say I'll make mine bold, put them in the center, and shade it in. And when I did that, I noticed it got a little bit fatter, so I'm just going to quickly resize these. Once you've got a formula you like, you can always use this Format Painter if you like. So this is the way I want them to look. If I double click that Format Painter, I can go and paint that on all of my pages if I want, really quickly and easily. Okay, so you could do that. I'm just going to escape to get out of there. I'm not going to do all those right now, but you get the idea. So I'm going to take all those headings and just make sure they stand out and are easy to read. If you wanted to, you could do things like borders and whatever. Anyway, so take some time, go through each page and make sure that all the headings stand out and look good and are easy to read. And then basically there's two ways to do most of these. And that is to either kind of type the formula in yourself or to load one of the preset formulas. These ones are pretty simple. Every time you want Excel to do math for you, you start with an equal sign. So I'm just going to type an equal sign there. The next thing is I want to add this number to this number. So I could theoretically just type in 10 plus 5. However, if one of these numbers changed for some reason, it would be nice if the formula changed as well. So instead of typing in a 10, I'm just going to say whatever's in this box, I want to add it to whatever's in that box. You could type in either B2, or you can just go and click on it. So once I have that equal sign, it knows that I'm creating a formula. If I go and click on a cell, it's going to load that in there. Then I want to add that, so I'm just going to type in the addition symbol, click on the next one, so it's going to add whatever's in B2 to whatever's in C2. If I hit enter, that'll apply that formula. If one of these numbers changes, the answer will change as well. Show you the next one. Equals this one minus, that's pretty simple. Enter. Now multiplication is not the letter X here, it's the asterisk, so I'm going to shift and the number 8 just to show you. Enter. I'll just zoom in a little bit. So again, B4 times C4, that's the asterisk. To divide, it's a slash. So this divided by this is that. And again, if any one of those numbers changes, the answers should change as well. For these ones, our answer is going to be this formula right here. Now there's an easier way than typing this in. If you can figure it out, good for you. I'm not going to tell you, but if you are going to type it in, make sure you type it exactly what it says there. So I'm just copying what it says there. I'm going to hit enter. That should be my answer. If there are brackets or anything like that, you just got to make sure that you have those brackets in exactly the same place. C9 minus D9. Oops. See, you just got to make sure they're exact. Oops, forgot the equal sign. Okay, you get the idea. You go through and finish all those by typing in exactly what's there, or figure out the easier way. So that's the first one. That's pretty simple. Let me go to the second one here, and I'm just going to resize my columns first. Okay, that looks better. So to figure out what my percentage is for a class or for an assignment or whatever, I just take what it's out of, or my mark, and then divide it by what it's out of. And then to get a percentage, I would have to multiply it by 100. So one way to do it, and this is not necessarily the easiest way, would be to go equals, it's this, times, or divided by, pardon me, this, and then times 100. That would be my percentage there. But I can get Excel to do some of the math for me, and right now it doesn't have the little percent symbol. I can get Excel to do that part for me. So this one, if I'll just do it without, let me just show you what that looks like. So this would be this divided by this, and hit enter. Now that number needs to be multiplied by 100, and if I want it to be a percentage, I can get Excel to do that and add the symbol. If I'm on the home tab here, I can change the format of this cell to be a percentage. So instead of general, which most of them are, if I go and change that to percentage, it will multiply it by 100 for me and add the percent symbol. So now it looks more like a percent. And if you want, you can also adjust how many decimal places it has. If you only want 1 decimal place or 0 decimal places, you can get it to round off for you. So maybe I'll just make mine whole numbers like that. You can change the decimal places right there. Now the cool thing about Excel is that it can take that same formula and apply it in other places with this little green square down in the bottom right hand corner. That little green square is called a fill handle. I want all these to do that exact same formula with the different numbers. If I take that fill handle, that little green box, and pull it down, it'll do all that math for me. that same formula now applies in all these boxes. And you'll notice in some of my classes I've done so well that I've gotten over 100% because I got 78 out of 75 and 98 out of 90 because I'm that smart. Let's try that again. So again, I want this to be a percentage equals this divided by this, enter, and there's my percentage. And again, if I want to change the number of decimal places, I could just use that number right there, and then I'll take that math and apply it. Okay, that one needs to be changed to a percentage. Just so they're all the same, I'll change the number of decimal places. And there we go. There's all my marks in all those classes. Now to figure out the average, I'm going to take all of my term marks, my term percentages, and I'm going to add them up and then divide by the number of items there. So basically the formula would look like this. It would be this number plus this, oops. This is the hard way to do it, by the way. And then there are 3 of them. So my average would be 63.525. But there's an easier way. Excel knows how to do a lot of basic math. So I could just tell it that I want it to do an average for me by typing in the word average and then choosing that formula, and then I just have to tell it what numbers I want it to average. Now there's 3 and they're all over here. So if I click on the first one, it'll load that first cell. Then I want to either put a comma and then click the next one and then a comma and the next one. Or the simpler way would be to, let me just start again, equals average. And then if I click on the first one, I hold Control. That'll select this one as well, and then Control again and do that one. Now this number isn't turning out, and I realize that it's because this one is being multiplied by 100. So I forgot to change this one before. If I put that back, that looks better. So let me just go and change this so that looks better. Let me show you that one more time just because that was a little confusing. Equals average. Click on the first number, hold Control. I want to select multiple cells. I'll click this and this. I'm still holding Control. I'll hit Enter and it'll average all those. And then if I want to, I can just take that same math and drag it down and apply that to other spots. There's one more spot where I want an average, and that is my overall average here. So again, I'll just go equals and average. And then I want to average all of my other averages, and these ones are all together. So I could either click the first one, hold Shift, and then click the last one, or I can just click on the top one, hold down my mouse button, and drag down. And I want to average from K2 to K8. So if I just hit Enter, that should be your overall average. So that sheet right there looks pretty good. I'll go on to the next one. And once again, I'll take some time. Just make sure that my columns are all wide enough and I can read all that. That looks better. So this one is a complicated formula. It's down here to figure out the amount of heat. I just want to take the mass, wherever that is, right here. I want to multiply, and then in brackets, I take the final temperature minus the starting temperature. So the final is here, minus the starting. Put another bracket and multiply by 4.2. So that's kind of complicated. I don't want to have to do that every time. So that's where that little fill handle comes in handy. I can just drag that down and do all that math for me. So that's your first few pages. In the next video, I'll go over the next few, and then we'll go from there.